when your defense partner walks in, takes a shot, and misses the net. Alarm bells have to go off in your head, and you got to be thinking, I got to go back. There are many times where this mistake has been made, where the player has decided to just stay around or maybe even go for a pinch, and has led to many goals, including an overtime winner in the finals of the Stanley Cup playoffs. So let's have a look. So on this play, you've got your defense partner here, and he's walking in to take a shot. We're going to be looking at the reactions of what you're going to be doing here as a defenseman. So, shot gets taken, and it misses the net. So you've got to be thinking in this situation, this is dangerous, right? Because your defense partner now has to kind of go all the way in, and he's going to have to loop around, which means you're the last guy back. And as this play develops, you're going to see kind of what this guy is thinking. He's going to be thinking, oh, this puck might come to me. Let me stick around here. You can't do that. I think in this situation, whenever there's a puck that misses the net, as soon as you hear that bang on the boards, you got to be thinking, I should be thinking of going back here. So let's see how this plays out. So puck keeps going, and now you can see how the situation's kind of getting bent. So he's still on the blue line. He's kind of moving towards here. Puck has moved around here. Now there's one player heading for it. There's another player heading for it. And he's already in a 2-on-1 situation here. Something that's critical that keeps happening over and over again is when a puck gets shot from this kind of angle, it almost always gets picked up somewhere around here. It doesn't make it all the way here. I've seen video after video after video. Now this one's a little special because some people will say this puck will take a bit of a funny bounce around here and kind of pop out a bit. But having looked at this kind of many angles of this one as well as so many others, this puck was not going to make it all the way up here. It was going to make it maybe get picked up a little bit lower if it hadn't done that bounce. But this keeps happening over and over again. The puck is not going to make it to you, so you can't just stick around the blue line. You got to be thinking, I've got to go back because actually this is my man. I got to cover him. Because look what's happened to his D partner, right? He's managed to loop around now, but he's way behind where Marchand is. Marchand is just going up the ice as fast as he can. Let's play it forward. Okay, now the situation's kind of finalized. You're in trouble. I think every defenseman has been in this position where you're on the blue line, you're flat-footed, and there's a guy just burning by you, and it feels awful, and there's really nothing you can do at this point. This game is over. There's nothing you can do to stop this breakaway. I'm going to see these guys are pretty good, so you're going to make sure to kind of stick to the outside, make sure that you can't get to this puck as it gets passed, and goes in and scores. So let's take a look at that, but kind of what it looked like on the ice. Okay, so defensive partner is taking a shot here. You can see just how low he is, right? So he's basically at the top of the circle. And then when the puck here misses the net and hits the boards, really got to have alarm bells going off in your head, because you can see, he's having to turn around, right? So he's not going to be able to keep up with a guy who just starts skating here. And this puck is going to wind up somewhere out here. And you know what? There's a Florida Panthers player that's pretty close to it. Sticking around here is not a good idea. And kind of, you're looking at this defenseman's reaction. So pretend you're in his shoes. You should be thinking, I need to go back. This is actually my guy right now. What does he do instead? He kind of stays around here. He's waiting for this puck. He's kind of hoping it'll come to him. But it doesn't. Other team gets it. Marchand has a quick cut up the ice. Nothing that you can really do at this point as defenseman. I mean, you're trying to get to this puck, but these guys are, too good. He's already further away from you, and he can put his stick out here. Pass is going to be made here. There's nothing. Your stick is not long enough to go all the way this way. Puck makes it. Great effort by Draisaitl to try to back check here, but it's not enough, and puck goes in the net. So that was one example. It was a big goal, obviously, happening in kind of double overtime in the Stanley Cup Finals. There's lots of examples like this, so let's take a look at another one. Okay, very similar situation here. Your defense partner is walking in and he's taking a shot, and he's doing it from down low, all right? So he's moving in, he's not kind of up at the blue line, he's moved in to take a shot. So we're gonna look at the reactions of this defenseman. Puck gets shot, and the instant it hits the boards, you've gotta think, this is very dangerous, because as you can see, same thing is happening. This defenseman, his momentum's carrying him forward, he's gonna have to come back, and now there are two guys potentially who can, who can beat him, right? He's not going to be able to keep up with these guys. His momentum's going the wrong way. So as a defenseman here, you've got to be thinking, I've got to go back and sort of play these guys. But what's he going to do instead? Come in this way. As expected, like I mentioned, whenever one of these pucks is going around like this, it always gets picked up somewhere here. It never makes it all the way up to the board. So you got to be thinking, who's going to get to this puck first? And obviously, as this D, you're not getting to this in time. It's going to get picked up here. And Kucherov here, who's a very smart player, has read this play already, and he's going full speed up the ice. And as this defenseman, the time he took to kind of go from here to here is costing him quite a bit here. So now he identifies this and he kind of does a quick pivot and turns, and he's going to try to catch, but it's too late by now. Nice pass up the ice and a goal. Let's see what that looked like when it was on the ice, because it's very quick. It's if you lose a little bit of time just kind of deciding, oh, I'm going to stay along the blue line once that puck hits the glass or hits the boards, you can lose this play. So this is what it looked like in real time. All right, so defenseman partner just walked in, took a shot, and he's pretty low. And you can see already, Kucherov is reading this. He's saying, you know what? I'm going to start skating and go up the ice. Puck is being picked up here, and then defenseman, who we were looking at earlier, he's just off screen here, and he's been moving this way this whole time. And you can kind of see the end of that, where he was just moving off to the side. Now, of course, he's going to try to kind of come back. He basically lost all this time going this way. Now he's going to try to come back this way, but it's too late. Really nice high-skill play to catch this puck by Kucherov and then go. So this happens time and time again. You really have to be on alert when your defense partner takes that shot and misses the net, especially if he has moved into the zone. Let's look at one more example. Okay, so we've got your defense partner here. He's kind of moved across like this, and he's going to go take a shot. So he's down low taking a shot, and we're looking at the responsive view over here. This is technically a forward who's playing a D, but given that he's back there, he's the defenseman. So shot gets taken, misses the net. Now in this situation, as this player, you got to be thinking, I'm the last guy back, and you can see why this is so dangerous, because your defense partner's gone in, and he's now below the three forwards of the other team. So as this top guy, these are the guys you're taking. As this moves a little forward now, you might be thinking, okay, there's a chance that this forward here on your team gets to the puck, but he was actually kind of skating this way, so he's gonna have to go all the way this way and turn around, so he can't get to this puck. Puck, as I explained many times, it's gonna wind up somewhere here. So when you're making the call, can I get to this puck first? Well, you've got all this travel time, and somebody like this just has a very short travel time. So even if you haven't read the play yet, like the puck just hit the boards, and you're not exactly sure where it's going to end up, you should just assume it's going to be somewhere down low. It's not going to make it up here. It's going to be picked up somewhere here. That's the kind of default assumption. And then as the play develops and as the puck kind of continues, you get a better read of it. But your initial read should just be, it's going to go here, because time and time again, this is where it gets picked up. It just kind of loses a lot of energy when it hits the boards, and it doesn't have enough to go all the way around. Makes a different decision though. He decides, no, I'm going to keep staying on this blue line, okay? And then he decides, I'm going to pinch here and try to get this puck. Now, this is definitely not the play to do. As you can see, we've got a guy here that can get a breakaway. We've got somebody, we've got two guys going here. One of them is going to decide to take the puck, and one of them can just go beyond you. And your defense partner is too far back. He had to go all the way kind of around and spin around. So pinching here is just not the play. You got to be thinking, I got to go back. Goes for the pinch, misses it. Now it's a breakaway and a goal. So looking at it in real time, this is your defense partner. He's kind of going in, going to take a shot, takes the shot, misses. And you can kind of read here, like if you were to guess who's most likely to get this puck, well, the puck's going to probably wind up somewhere here, and one of these guys is going to get it. The odds that the defenseman, who's all the way back here off the screen, he's getting it is just too low. Now he's very fast, and he actually does get there pretty close, but he doesn't win this race. Manages to poke it through, and then we have a breakaway. Okay, so these are examples of kind of what happens when your defense partner, he moves in, takes a shot, misses the net. You got to be thinking, I got to go back. If you're a beginner to intermediate player, I think that's the only rule you need. If you got that rule, you're looking for what's going to trigger this. I mean, you saw the first goal out of these was actually in double overtime. How do you make sure that even when you're super tired, you're in double overtime, you still make the right play? Well, I think the trigger here is you see your guy going deep, and then he takes a shot, and you hear that bang sound of the puck hitting the boards or hitting the glass, or that pop. when you hear that, alarm bells have to go off in your head. And you say, you know what, I should be going back here, and you got to be looking across the ice at the other side, not where the puck's going to go, but the other side to see who's coming up. So you got to be reading that. So that's your reaction. But, you know, we got to go deeper on this channel. So are there situations where, you know, maybe it's okay to stay, or kind of what would those look like? So let's actually take a look at different examples where maybe the play was a little different than what I explained, where maybe, you know, your defense partner doesn't go in, or that the shot or the situation was a bit different. Are there cases where, you know, maybe it's okay to pinch or to try to gain a bit of an advantage? This is kind of for more advanced players, right? This is when you've got the basics, you know when to go back, and you're trying to squeeze in a little bit of extra offense in your play. So let's take a look at what that looks like, because your primary responsibility is to make sure that you're not getting scored on as a defenseman. But, you know, as you get more advanced, you're trying to get these extra opportunities. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, so here's a play where your defense partner is going to take a shot and miss the net. And we're looking at the reactions of this guy. Okay, now already this shot is different than some of the other ones, right? Because the defense partner took a shot and it's going to miss the net, but, you know, he shot from up here. So, you know, he's not deep into the zone, which means he's going to be able to cover his guy. So it's already a little bit better, and you can think a little bit more aggressively in that case. And I'll show you examples where, you know, sometimes you don't want to be aggressive, sometimes you do. But essentially this general rule of, you know, if your defense partner goes in deep, takes a shot, you got to go back, doesn't apply here because your defense partner is not deep. So this is more of a kind of standard pinching situation. And normal pinching, you're usually, you know, there's a risk-reward trade-off. Your general rules there are, you know, you got to get the puck. If you don't get the puck, at least take the guy. And so let's see how this play kind of works out. Puck goes here, and this defenseman makes a pretty good read, which is that this player here is going to have trouble getting to this puck before him, because this player was kind of heading this way. So he's heading this way, so he's going to have to turn all the way around to get to this puck. And even if you don't know exactly where this puck's going to go, you know, you can anticipate it's probably somewhere around here. So we've done that before. So if you're making a read, am I going to get there first? Well, in this case, given that this guy's going this way, and that actually his momentum was taking him this way, I can maybe back it up by 1 second just so you see what this defenseman was kind of a, you know, up here. So he was actually skating forward already. So his momentum's already taking him forward, while this guy's momentum's taking him the other way. So look at kind of their two momentums and try to guess who can get there first. And in this case, you know, it kind of feels like, yeah, you should be able to get there first. So in this situation, if you're very sure and your defensive partner is back there covering you, then it's okay to pinch. So he goes in, takes a shot, scores. And in real time, this is what it looks like. So shot misses the net, walks in, takes a shot, scores. And you could see here that, like, basically the momentum of this player was kind of taking him the wrong way, and he had to turn around to get to it, while this D was able to go just straight in and get it. So that's kind of helping you with the sort of counter examples, right? So, hey, maybe there are some cases where you can go in and pinch. Let's look at another one. Similar situation, you've got your defense partner, he's taking a shot, okay, and this is going to miss the net. Again, how does this differ from kind of the initial ones that we looked at? Well, one, he's taking it from the blue line, so he's not walking in taking a shot. So already it's less risky. Another thing that you've got going is that your team is changing, which means you have forward support. You've got forwards behind you, which means you can be a little bit more aggressive. Okay, and now your decision time is, you know, around here, you hear the puck kind of hit the boards, it's missed the net. And so you know, okay, my defense partner is back there, so he's covering me. I've got somebody behind me. And most importantly, you see that actually all their forwards are really far away from this puck. You know, you're kind of assuming, okay, this puck, as soon as you hear it hit the boards, assume it's going to wind up somewhere here. So can you get to this puck before these guys? Like, yeah, there's a good chance, right? There's like this is pretty good. These guys are really far away. So this is one where you can consider pinching, especially with this support that you have behind. So he does that, he goes in, he hesitates a little, but then he goes in, takes a shot, and scores. That's what this looks like in real time. So you've got the shot going in, and, you know, it takes a little bit of time to get going, and that actually allows, you know, this guy to almost get to it. But the main thing actually to watch here is that actually this player won't skate as hard as the defenseman will, and that'll allow the D to get to this puck first, and is able to take the shot. So this is one where I think the pinch was a good idea, and it turns out well. And the key is really, you know, your defense partner is at the back. You really were able to read this play and know for sure that you're getting there first, so then it's all right. Now we're going to look at one where, you know, okay, your defense partner is taking a shot from the back, so he's not moving in. So you're thinking, okay, sometimes I can pinch in this case, but this is an example where you really shouldn't, and I'll explain why. So takes a shot, and now you're deciding, should I pinch or not? Well, shot missed the net, so you know it's probably going to wind up somewhere here. So who is closest to this area? Well, it's this forward. Here they've got good position on the forwards, right? So the other team is most likely to be able to get to this puck quickly. So you're looking, can I get to this first? Probably not. And therefore you shouldn't make this pinch. And on one of these missed shots, it's a little tricky to, like, you got to read what your forwards are doing as well. And here, okay, sure, your defensive partner is going to get him, and you might be thinking, well, if I go in, I can at least, maybe if I don't get the puck, I'll take my guy. This isn't great if you don't have a good read of what the rest of the forwards are doing, because what you're going to see is this can easily turn into a 2-on-1. Even if you both take out your guys, there's a third forward there that can come up the ice that your forwards aren't necessarily going to pick up. These plays can happen fast when the puck misses kind of hits the boards like that. And your forwards might not be able to keep up with their forwards, especially if their forward is smart. And instantly, as soon as he hears that sound, he's thinking, I'm going to go because this could be a breakaway. Which is exactly what happens here. So now this forward has managed to pass his coverage. This D is not looking like he can get to this puck first. So really, this has already developed into a 2-on-1. So, you got a 2-on-1, you got a guy going in, pass across, and a goal. So it's a situation where I think you really don't want to be pinching. You could see there that it's very unlikely that you would win that. When you're anticipating, when you're making a decision on should I go in or not on a pinch, you want to really be sure about a pinch. And this is one where it's really not clear that you're going to win it. And you can't be hoping when you're anticipating. You don't hope, you kind of make the most reasonable call that is actually going to happen. In which case here, it's pretty obvious you weren't going to win that race. This is what it looked like in real time. It was off a face-off. So, an extra thing that he should be aware of is his centerman fell here off the face-off, which means he's not going to have as much forward coverage. If he goes in for a pinch, he's not going to have forwards helping him as much because one of them fell. So you got the D partner takes a shot, and right here is when you're making the decision. So what is your decision here? Should you pinch or should you not? You hear that puck make that sound off the glass. Like, do I go in or not? And the answer here should really be no. It's very unlikely that you're going to be able to beat this guy. This puck will not go all the way to the point. If it made it all the way to the point, you would be the closest to that puck. But it's not. It always ends up somewhere down here. So this guy is he's closer to it. He's going to get there first. And look at what this guy is doing. He knows this. He's already skating this way. He's already smelling this opportunity. He knows this. He's heard this sound before. So when he hears it, he's taking off. Look at him. He's going full speed. This puck hasn't even, the battle hasn't even been decided yet here, but he's taking off full speed because he knows what's about to happen. This defenseman should have known the same situation and kind of gone back instead of gone in, but he doesn't. Puck gets poked through, which is a pretty easy play to do. 2-on-1, and a goal. Okay, so I kind of showed you 3 examples of when you really, or 4 examples total actually, when you really shouldn't pinch. I showed a few where it was okay to pinch. I've never shown anywhere it was like the right play was just to stay on the blue line. I will show you one because it's extremely rare that when there's a shot like that misses the net, that you should just stay on the blue line. You generally want to either go back, just it should be kind of your default reaction, or when you're really sure that you can win the pinch, you go in, because like I've shown many times, the puck ends up somewhere here. So if you stay on the blue line, you're kind of in no man's land, and usually the other team's going to get it, and so you either want to really make a decision between pinch and not. I wanted to show you one example where it's actually okay to stay on the blue line because it's very specific and you should be able to read this pretty well. So here you're gonna have your defense partner and he takes a shot. You're looking at the reactions of this guy here. So okay, puck misses the net here. So do you go back? Do you pinch? Well, in this case, you can stay because you have 2 of your forwards that are the closest to where this puck's gonna go. You can assume that the puck's gonna go somewhere here, right, and get picked up somewhere here. And your forwards are just much closer. So this is the case where you can say, okay, you know what, I'm going to stick around here, give my forward some support. As it plays forward, you can see that your forwards are going to get there. So you don't have to kind of leave the zone and then your forwards have nobody to pass to. You can actually just kind of stick around here and just stay along the blue line, which is what he does. Moves across, gives his forward an opportunity to pass, shot, and a goal. So what that looks like in real time, there's a shot, misses the net. And you can see just like you've got one forward here, got another forward going towards it. Is there a chance here that your team doesn't get the puck? yeah, it's possible. So it's possible the puck ends up kind of here and this guy gets to it first, but you know, you do have some reaction time on this one. So, and you got so much coverage that I think it's okay to kind of wait there, see if you can get it. And see, so the team picks up the puck, he walks across. Very risky pass here, almost gets intercepted for a breakaway, but it makes it through and it works out and you get a goal. Okay, so that was it. That's what I want to talk about in this video. Just to recap, I want to show the main example that started this whole thing, which is that if your defense partner goes in for a shot, right, which is what he's doing here, you've got to be thinking, I got to go back. This play here turned out to be a really big moment in the NHL Stanley Cup Finals, right? This is double overtime. And some of the key behind this is you need to make the right decision, even if you're super tired. And you know, this is double overtime. He's played a lot of minutes. It's like, so you know, you could be tired and your brain might just go into this mode of, oh, I'm just going to stay here and kind of see. And it's just for a second. It's very quick. So the way to get out of that is really to have these mental cues set up ahead of time. So your mental cue is really, my defense partner was in, down low taking a shot, and 2, it missed the net. So when you hear that sound of the puck hitting the boards, the guy's like, uh-oh, I gotta go back. That's your mental cue. You should be able to do that even if you're super tired. It should become an automatic thing. You know, you watch this video, rewatch it a bit later so you remember this, and so you're building up this cue over time. And that's how you're gonna be able to avoid some goals and become a better hockey player. All right, I want to thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.